All right, welcome back. This is Tyrell from the Nosebleeds. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you guys are returning, like I said, welcome back. And welcome to week 9 power rankings. Last couple of weeks, we really haven't had our regularly scheduled power rankings. After the Steelers game, needed that mental break. And if you guys watched the live stream last Thursday, my save file got corrupted. So I couldn't upload what I had originally recorded. All that work got tossed to the side for week 8. But this is week 9. So we're officially at the halfway point of the NFL season. It's also coming up on the trade deadline. So we're going to talk about that. Instead of with the Browns being on a bye week, the Sunday post, afternoon show will be about the trade deadline, buyers, sellers, and what to expect from that. Also, don't forget, people, turn your clocks back. That is happening this weekend, unless you live in Arizona. But besides that, welcome, and let's keep going on. Who's 32? Who's number one? And all that in between, power rankings, predictions as well. And let's start off with the number 32 ranked team. Even though they got the win, I have to keep the New York Jets at 32. Very impressive comeback. Let's not kid ourselves, right? Justin Fields had a solid game. If you guys watch All Grind Sports, you guys, for my All Grind Sports fans that showed up to this channel, I'm not the biggest fan of Justin Fields whatsoever, but he had a good comeback. Brees Hall showed up when it mattered the most. This was a very good win against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I want to show you guys my notes for last week. And if you guys watch the live stream, I even said it in there. But I actually have, I know my handwriting is sloppy, but at number 3, it has New York Jets. I think that's number 3, right? Yes, New York Jets and Cincinnati. Now on the side over here is I put the end up putting the winner, but I did predict that the Jets was going to win this game. They did win this game, but nonetheless, Jets good win against the Cincinnati Bengals, a much needed win for their morale. Let's see where they go with that, but still got them at 32. At number 31, I got the New Orleans Saints. Last week they were ranked 28th, so they're minus 3 spots. We know they're going with Tyler Shaw against the Los Angeles Rams this week. Their quarterback situation is just downright terrible. I to be honest with you, like any other team would have beat Tampa, like the way Tampa played this week. But it's the New Orleans Saints. They haven't been good in quite some time. You can clearly tell that this organization is tanking for a quarterback, probably tanking for Mendoza. They probably came in thinking they were going to tank for Arch. We're seeing what's going on with Arch. Arch probably got to stay back another year. So Mendoza's probably going to be the guy that they're going to go after. That's what I assume. I think a lot of people are assuming that at this point. So I have to go with the New Orleans Saints at 31. They only got one win against the Giants. Any other team has pretty much dog walked them all over the field. Their defense is decent for what it's worth, with it being a bad team. But the New Orleans Saints at number 30, the Las Vegas Raiders, really not a good team this year. They're on a bye week. They stay at the 30 position. They were on a bye week, so nothing really bad to say about them. Maybe a 35-3 loss against bye week. We saw the memes. But nonetheless, they have a lot of questions to answer going into this second half. I know a lot of Raiders fans. Shout out to Raider Ragu, by the way. Go check him out. Please go subscribe to all his content for your fresh Raiders content and reviews and updates. You want to go to Raider Ragu. Very reliable, very great guy. But there were some hopes for a decent team, and they haven't been a decent team. Geno is, we said this plenty of times, Geno is writing back to the haters. They're not a good team. They're not a good team, but they didn't play a game. Sometimes with these bye week teams, they don't move a spot, or if they do, they might move. They might lose a position, or they might gain a position depending on the team that's below them or ahead of them, whatever the case may be. But nonetheless, Las Vegas Raiders at 30. My beloved Cleveland Browns are at number 29. They were ranked 27th last week. That's a -2 from last week. This is not a good team. And the crazy part is like unlike the Saints, where it's like you can tell like they're tanking. This is a team that's trying to compete, and this is the best that we're getting. Timu Tua is not the quarterback. The defense is not what they are when they're home. Like the Brown and I was just talking with a friend about this, is that we've never I cannot recall where I've seen like a great defense be subpar on the road. And there's only so many excuses I can give with them being on the field all the time and this, that, and the third. But they created 3 turnovers as well, right? So this defense is starting to create turnovers, but they're not preventing any teams from scoring when they're on the road. They're just not. And I wanna do this. And I know this is my team, and maybe it's a little bit biasness on this. And we're gonna exclude the London game from this because that was a neutral site. But we're gonna do the math. We're gonna do the average for the average for the Browns, um, as far as points given up per game is 23 points per game. So they give up 23 points per game, which is 17th in the league, right? However, what we're gonna do is we are going to average out how many points they give up per game when they are the road team. When they are the road team. So that first game against Baltimore, they gave up 41. And then they gave up 34 against Detroit on the road. They gave up 23, which I believe that is their lowest that they gave up on the road against Pittsburgh. And then they gave up 32 against the New England Patriots. That's 4 games. So when they're on the road, they're giving up 32.5 points per game. I want y'all to see that. They're giving up 32.5 points per game on the road. Now let's do that comparison when they are the home team. Win or lose, whatever it may be. They gave up 17 against Cincinnati. They gave up, what's the next home game? They gave up 10 to the Green Bay Packers. We're not going to count the London game. That was a neutral site. They gave up 6 against the Dolphins. Compared to at home, 11 points per game. 11 points per game compared to on the road where they're giving up 32.5. Let's use our basic math. Let's round up to the nearest one. Let's round up to the nearest one, right? They're giving up triple the amount of points on the road compared to at home. They're only giving up 11 points per game at home. But on the road, they're giving up 32.5 points per game. That I've never seen that. I've never seen that huge disparity, or at least from like, and I'm talking about off the top of my head, like the disparity is massive. Like it's 3 times the amounts. So the Browns ranked at 29. I just wanted to give out that disparity between like their defense, and that's just using points, right? That's not even using yards or anything. That's using strictly points. They give up 32.5 points per game on the road. At number 28, got the Tennessee Titans, which is weird because they moved up one spot, but you know they played against the Colts. They got belt to ass by the Colts. They were ranked 29 last week, and that's only because of how bad Cleveland's performance is. That has nothing to do with Tennessee and themselves. You can tell Tennessee is tanking. They're trying to set themselves up for a better position to build around Cam Ward. I'm a firm believer that you build your team and try to insert the quarterback compared to building around the quarterback, if that makes sense. Um, Tennessee's defense is solid for what it's worth, but they're just a bad team. It's a bad team, a directionless team as well, and Cam Ward is suffering for that. I think Cam Ward has a lot of potential in this league. I really do. I don't know how far his ceiling is or how high his ceiling is, but I do think overall he has a high ceiling. At number 27 is the Miami Dolphins +4. They were the second worst ranked team last week. For Miami, a belt to ass on the Atlanta Falcons was very surprising. And it, that type of win will help out, but it also helps out the fact that Atlanta didn't rushed the ball a lot. Like Bijan only had 9 carries for 25 yards. Miami played good football, but bad teams do play good football for 1 week. Miami gets a plus 4. They're pretty sure when you get to these lower tier teams, they shuffle up and down. I think you guys have seen that throughout all the power ranking videos throughout this entire season. Number 26, bye week, Arizona Cardinals. Again, another one of those teams where there was some expectations for them, and they have not lived up to those expectations. Cardinals have lost a lot of one possession games. So it's like this is a team that I don't know how to necessarily judge them because they're not winning and closing games out. Like, or they're either grab the lead or like in the Tennessee instance where they blew a 22-point lead or whatever, or they allowed Tennessee to score like 21 unanswered or 18 unanswered, something like that. Um, Arizona, 26. I think that's a good spot for them. They don't move up, they don't move down. They're off a bye week. We'll see what they do against the Dallas Cowboys. Number 25 is the New York Giants. Prayers out to Cam Scatterboo, or as I like to call him personally, Scattabooski. I don't care how corny that is. I like it for myself. Prayers out to him. That ankle injury, he's pretty much, I would imagine he's done for the year, which is unfortunate because I really like Cam Scatterboo and the Jackson Dart combo. This is the Giants are proving my point of what I said about them earlier this year, and that is I'm not expecting a lot from them this year, but I am expecting to see the building blocks start to come together. So in the next couple of years, they'll be one of the more upper echelon teams in the NFC East. And I think it's starting to look like that. Like they played against a tough Philadelphia team. They lost Cam Scatterboo. Uh, Remember they beat Philadelphia in that Thursday night game. Philadelphia was more motivated and they didn't have that long to sit and stew and wait for that. So um yeah, New York Giants sitting at number 25. They were ranked 23rd last week. Number 24, the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, there were worse teams than them, but that defense is atrocious, man. That defense is atrocious, and it's like I was kind of high on that defense because of the defense coordinator. I don't think it's a defense coordinator issue. I think, and I really haven't seen a lot of discourse where maybe this week I really did, where it's like, hey, we got to fire Al Golden. But overall, like Al Golden is an excellent defensive mind. It's just that they don't have the personnel on defense to execute what Al Golden wants to do. Their offense, since Flacco has gotten there, is a firepower offense. We know that their offense is going to compete with anybody. But if they don't have the defense to back it up, they're not in a good position when Joe Burrow comes back. Joe Burrow's coming back this year, but they're not going to be in a good position because their defense has the inability to close out games and to win games not named Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 23, the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is going to be the Baltimore Ravens turnaround. Lamar Jackson should be back for the Thursday night game against the Miami Dolphins. Usually, the Dolphins is the doorstep, doormat for the Baltimore Ravens. Derrick Henry has been looking good lately. They're coming off of a bye. That you can tell they made adjustments. They're getting disciplined. I love what that Lamar was the one to sit back and say, "Hey, we need to lock in and stay focused." The Ravens can still win this division. The Ravens can still win the AFC North. Like, and the Ravens could start climbing back because earlier this year I had the Ravens in the top 10, but you're not going to be in the top 10 for very long with 2 wins, with just 2 wins, and getting blown out like that. A lot of it had to do with the injury bug, where they're starting to get healthy. They're starting to get healthy at the right time, and this is a division for them to grab. Like with Cincinnati being inconsistent, Pittsburgh being what Pittsburgh is, with it not, we'll get to Pittsburgh when we get to Pittsburgh. And the Browns are the Browns. The Browns don't compete for division position. They compete for draft position. You don't win a division, you're coming close to sniffing a division since 1989. You play for draft positions. And Baltimore distilled the division. Dallas Cowboys 22. Last week they were ranked 21. So that's -1. Dallas belted ass by by the Denver Broncos. I will say this though about Dallas. Joe, or more so Joe Milton. I think Joe Milton, there might be the argument against this is, well, he threw that touchdown in garbage time. I don't know a lot of quarterback, garbage time or not, that make that touchdown throw. Like, there's something about Joe Milton that excites me. Like, if Joe Milton sits behind Dak Prescott, because Dak is in his 10th year, Joe sit behind Dak for a little bit, and they groom him to be the next quarterback, they might have just hit another success. They might have just did that again. Um, Dallas is in the same position as Cincinnati though, as a team. Good offense. I think they got one of the best offenses in the league. As a matter of fact, I know they're ranked very high in offense. So let's check. Let's check and see. Dallas is So Dallas is literally the fourth best offense. They're the best passing offense, and they have the 13th best rushing offense. This is one of the best offenses in the league. However, your offense is not going to carry much when you have the worst ranked defense in the entire league. You are the second worst ranked passing defense in the league, and you are the fourth or the fifth, where you rank 29th, about fourth or fifth ranked worst run defense in the entire league. Kind of like opposite of the Browns, where their defense is carrying, doing their best. Dallas is like, man, they got all this firepower. They are the best offense in the entire league, and they have the worst defense in the entire league. You're not going to win a lot of games with that whatsoever. So Dallas at 22, and really it's their offense of why I'm not so harsh on Dallas is because of their offense. At number 21, the Houston Texans, good win against the San Francisco 49ers. CJ Stroud, you can see when he has time, we know what type of quarterback he is. For all the people saying that he's washed, that he's overrated, this and the third. Look at that offensive line. Look how, and then they're not a good offensive line. They just played against a team that couldn't really get to CJ all like that. When CJ has time, he produces. Vince Lombardi said it the best. Gotta have all these formations and innovation. If you can't run, you can't block, and you can't tackle, you're not gonna win a lot of games. Number 20, Carolina Panthers, ranked 20th last week. This is where a lot of teams kind of stay in the same spot as last week. I know we kind of rushed through last week because we were trying to get to the NBA gambling scandal thing. But I'm not gonna hold this against Carolina. I know they got their ass whooped, but like Carolina's a solid team, and they really need Bryce Young to come back. Let's be honest here. But they played against Buffalo, and Buffalo is a way upper echelon team than the Carolina Panthers. So I don't hold that against Carolina. That was kind of like, Carolina's like, that was the equivalent of, how do I want to put this? That was the equivalent of like Ohio University going to Ohio State this year. Like that's the or Toledo going to Ohio State. Like that's the Buffalo's right here. Carolina's like middle of the pack. Like middle of the pack. Maybe they'll compete on a good day, but overall, it's a complete another belt to ass whooping. Number 19, the Minnesota Vikings. They're just right there. Like if they fix their quarterback situation, they'll be just fine. But the quarterback situation, and it's looking like they made a mistake letting Sam Darnold walk to the Seattle Seahawks. I can't knock them for that. I've defended that decision. That's a hard decision for any organization to do. You just drafted a quarterback 10th overall. Turn around and you got this quarterback that you thought was just going to be a bridge gap quarterback, while your rookie quarterback that you're going to invest your franchise in heals up, and it turns out to be that Darnold might be the answer. And what do you do in that situation? So I can't knock them for that, because if Darnold was playing bad and JJ was playing good, this conversation would not be Minnesota made a mistake. It'd be Minnesota made the right call. So I got to get that quarterback situation. I don't know if JJ's coming back. Last time I checked, he was questionable. So we'll see with the Minnesota Vikings. Atlanta's 18, same thing. Inconsistent. And again, you don't have your starting quarterback in there. I know Kirk Cousins got the money, but Kirk is the backup quarterback. And they gave it to Bijan 9 times is egregious. Like, you literally took the ball out of your best player's hands. Middle of the pack, literally, maybe slightly below average. Atlanta Falcons at 18. 17, Pittsburgh Steelers. That defense is bad, man. They're bad, especially that secondary. And this is their division to lose. And I think Pittsburgh is about to lose his division, especially if Baltimore turns it around. They didn't. They look and they kind of notices like they look good in the first half, and then that second half they tail off. And they've gotten some wins by playing some teams with lesser experience, but or not as talented teams. But Green Bay experience, talented. Jordan Love is legit, and Aaron Rodgers is not the problem. Here's the thing: Aaron Rodgers is not the problem. We would thought Aaron Rodgers would be one of those. It would be a problem, maybe bad play. We saw what happened with New York, but then again, it's the New York Jets. Um, but Aaron Rodgers is not the problem. Aaron Rodgers is keeping a lot of actually all this year. He's keeping Pittsburgh in these games. So this defense is bad. It's bad. So Pittsburgh is middle of the pack. They're at 17. They were 16 last week. Jacksonville 16th. They might start sliding down. I got the fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert on the Jacksonville Jaguars already. Undisciplined. The cracks are starting to show. Maybe they'll clean it up during this bye week. I think what they got this week. They got the Raiders. So we'll see what they do this week. But both of those teams are coming off a bye. But Jacksonville, they're kind of in the middle right now. I know I had them kind of creeping past 15. I had them at like 13 one week. I think the last time we did a full power rankings, I think I did have them ranked at like 13 or something like that. So middle of the pack, like I said, I got fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert is in full effect for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 15 San Francisco 49ers, they're going to be one of those middle of the pack inconsistent teams. They have a great coach in Kyle Shanahan. That's kind of what's saving their ass right now. Can't sing Return of the Mac right now. They got bit with the injury bug. San Francisco, a tough loss against Houston, but they're one of those teams they're going to win games, they're going to lose, they're going to win, they're going to lose, they're going to win, they're going to lose. That's pretty much what San Francisco is. At 14, the Washington Communist Party. This is the first time Washington is out of the top 10, 3-5. Injury bug has hit them hard. Scary Terry, Debo, J5, JD5, like they have a lot of injuries. And they don't have the depth to cover up for those injuries. Like they just don't. Like the depth is underdeveloped for Washington. Tough loss against Kansas City. Like they didn't have a chance. They just didn't have a chance against Kansas City, especially with no Scary Terry, or they did have Scary Terry, but like not a healthy Scary Terry, and there is no JD5. So Washington right now, they're out of the top 10, middle of the pack. They might start sliding down, and a lot of that is because they're one of the hardest. Them, San Francisco, and Baltimore, I would say, are like the three more noticeable teams that got bit by the injury bug. Although tough loss against the Baltimore Ravens, Chicago is sitting here at number 13. Last week they were ranked 14th, so that moves them up by one. Chicago's a good team. Let me rephrase that. Chicago is a good developing team. I like what Ben Johnson is doing there. I like the swagger that Chicago plays, but they played against a very desperate and a very hungry Baltimore Ravens team that had Tyler Huntley there instead of Cooper Rush. Tyler Huntley fits the system better. He knows the system. He made it to a Pro Bowl in that system. Even though he was a alternate, he still made it to it. He's still a Pro Bowl quarterback for a year, But overall, Chicago, I like what they're doing there. Swift, Caleb, DJ, like this is a team to watch out for in the future. Thing is that talking about watching out for in the future, but then you play in the division with Detroit, you play in the division with Green Bay. But I thought, for a team that's playing against a desperate opponent and they're inexperienced both from a coaching and a player position of facing off and thwarting off a team that is hungry and desperate, I thought they played pretty solid. The Los Angeles Chargers at number 12. Last week they were ranked 13. They put belt to ass on Minnesota. And Chargers is another one of those things where it's like, dude, like there is untapped potential there, but they're not quite getting there yet. But they've done a good job at next man up. Like the one thing I'm noticing about the Chargers, whether it's a win or a loss, especially at the skill position, your tight ends, your running backs, they have depth. They have actual depth on this team. And when you have Alt's in there that's playing healthy, and he makes that offensive line so much better. Like that offensive line, it is a night and day difference between having Alt in there and not having Alt in there. Um, so yeah, I got them at number 12. Who knows? Maybe they'll start climbing back into the top 10. Number 11, the Denver Broncos. They don't move with a single position. This is just because I think there are top 10 is just better than them. There's nothing against them. They're on the very outskirts. They're always knocking on that door on my list, but they're not quite there yet. And I want to remind people, I'm not looking at nobody else's list. This is my own personal list. And I do encourage you guys in the comment section to let me know what y'all think of this. Do y'all have your own list? Do y'all agree? Do you disagree? And why so? So please, I encourage you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Want to just plug that in there real quick. Denver is a good team, and they're figuring things out. And when Sean Payton is not calling a bunch of bullshit ass screens, Bo Nix can let the ball fly. Their defense is good. This is all around good team. This is a dark horse in the AFC to make a nice playoff run. At number 10, I got the New England Patriots. Winners of 5 straight. They're clicking on all cylinders. They're playing as a complete team, and they are playing good, sound football on all 3 sides of the ball. New England's they were ranked 13th last week. So I had to move it up 3 spots. I think they're slightly better than the Denver Broncos, but it was really like between Denver and New England, that was probably the most time I spent on a spot. And I just put New England slightly above the Denver Broncos. I think New England, to me, has more impressive wins. That's just my personal opinion. Number 9, Seattle. They lose a spot, but that's just because of the bye week. And it's more so like, and I thought about this like Seattle, and I'll reveal number 8 is Tampa. But I just think Tampa just had a couple of bad weeks of football. Like they won this game because they played the Saints. Like they played San Francisco, they played Denver, they played Chicago. The Tampa wouldn't win that game whatsoever. But Seattle was just there. It's a bye week. I just have Tampa at number 8. They were ranked 5th, so they lose 3 spots. Kansas City at number 7, ranked 10th last week. They're climbing up and they're starting to become the Super Bowl favorites again. Like, let's just keep it. Let's call a spade a spade. They're getting the chemistry together on both sides of the ball. Their chemistry between the players and the coaching staff is getting better. Like they're cleaning everything up that was an issue early on in the season. Patrick Mahomes is having his best season like he's had since probably like his second year or his de facto rookie year, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Kansas City at number 7. Number 6, the Philadelphia Eagles. Ranked 7th last week, so they move up 1 spot. Good revenge win against the New York Giants. One of my Super Bowl favorites. They have not. Did they leave the top 10? They might have left the top 10 last week, but they were 7th last week. Excuse me. What week was that? Because I swear I had them outside the. No, never had them outside the top 10. Lowest they got was number 10. With good reason. They can attack you in every single asset, especially on offense. And Saquon got his first 100-yard game of the year. So Philadelphia at number 6. Number 5 is the Buffalo Bills. Good belt to ass whooping on the Carolina Panthers. They needed that after going into the bye week, stumbling a little bit. They were ranked 6th last week. Good win by the Buffalo Bills, another Super Bowl favorite. Now, no, 4 through 1 has not changed since the Indianapolis Colts at 4. Green Bay Packers at 3, Rams at 2, Lions at 1. Both the Rams and Lions were on a bye week. Let's go ahead and let's get to predictions. Let me go ahead and get a sip. I base these predictions off of wins and wins only. Don't do money line predictions. I will mention the money line. I will mention the last time they played against each other. Thursday night football. Baltimore travels to the Miami Dolphins. Baltimore, according to ESPN Bet, is 7.5-point favorites. Lamar Jackson should be playing in this game. The Ravens are ranked 20th in offense. Miami is ranked 28th. The Ravens have the 27th ranked defense. Miami 23rd. Last time these two teams faced off against each other, Baltimore put belt to ass to them 56-19. Like I said, every time I see Baltimore and Miami play, usually Baltimore is a doormat. I mean, not Baltimore. Miami's a doormat to the Baltimore Ravens, and I expect that to continue. I expect Baltimore to cover. I expect Baltimore to win this game pretty easily. Like this is a Baltimore team that has taken all of the distractions outside of the locker room. They got rid of it and they're locked in and focused and they realize that they can win this division. So give me Baltimore for the win. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons versus the New England Patriots. New England Patriots looking to extend their streak to to 6 straight wins. And yeah, the New England Patriots are back. Last time these two teams faced off against each other, New England won 25-0 on November 18, 2021. Atlanta, third best defense in the league against New England's eighth best defense. New England, eighth best offense against Atlanta's 14th best offense. This is probably about an even matchup. New England, 5.5 point favorites. Give me New England to. Do I have New England winning this game? Let me see. Yeah. Actually, no, I have a. All ground, I said Atlanta, so I'm going to stick with Atlanta. Atlanta gets the upset win against the New England Patriots. The Carolina Panthers against the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is 13.5 point favorites, especially with Andy Dalton supposed to be starting for the Carolina Panthers. Last time these two teams faced off against each other was on Christmas Eve 2 years ago, where Green Bay won 33-30. The Panthers had the 10th best defense, but the 21st ranked offense. Green Bay 6th best offense, 5th best defense. Give me Carolina to cover, but give me Green Bay for the dub for that one. The Los Angeles Chargers go against the Tennessee Titans this week. Titans are 9.5 point underdogs. Last time they faced off against each other was last year, November 10th. Los Angeles won 27-17. The Chargers, 7th best defense, best offense in the league, tied for the best offense in the league, along with the Dallas Cowboys. The Tennessee Titans have the 31st ranked defense. 31st ranked offense and the 26th ranked defense. Give me, let me see. See why they did 9.5. Give me, I see why they did 9.5. Give me Tennessee to cover, Los Angeles Chargers to win that game. Denver versus Houston. This is a test for the Houston Texans to see if they can bounce back their season. Last time they faced off against each other, December 3rd, 2023, Houston won 22-17. Denver, 6th best defense, 10th best offense. Houston, 16th ranked offense, best defense in the league. I think that's tied. Give me the Houston Texans. No, give me the Denver Broncos to win this game. Denver is 1.5 point underdog, so it's a pick'em game. Give me Denver to win the game. Chicago versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This could have some playoff implementations for one of these teams. Bengals need this to stay in the division, especially with I believe, like I said, I've been saying all episode that Baltimore is about to turn their season around. Chicago is 2.5 point favorites. Last time they faced off against each other, September 19th. So it's been over 4 years. 20-17 victory for the Chicago Bears. For the best, 12th best offense for the Bears, 24th ranked defense, 31st ranked defense for Cincinnati, 29th, which is crazy because that might be early season stuff when whatchamacallit. Flacco is questionable though with a shoulder AC joint injury. So who knows if Flacco is going to start, but I expect Flacco to start. Flacco has not thrown a single interception this year. Give me Chicago Bears to win this game. Indianapolis Colts versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Indianapolis travels to Pittsburgh. Colts are 3.5 point favorites. Last time they faced off against each other was last year, 27-24 victory again for the Colts against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Colts 25th ranked defense, but third best offense, 27th ranked offense for Pittsburgh, and 30th ranked defense. Pittsburgh's secondary is going to have problems again. Give me the Indianapolis Colts to cover and for the win. New York Giants versus host the San Francisco 49ers, one of the more underrated rivalries in this league. San Francisco is going to be playing a little bit of desperate ball because they're going to. This is the time where teams start to think playoffs. We're going into November now. And these games are going to matter for tiebreakers and everything like that. Last time they faced off against each other was 2 years ago. San Francisco won 30-12. No Cam Skattebo. Um, 11th ranked offense for San Francisco and 18th ranked defense for San Francisco. 18th ranked offense for the New York Giants. 29th ranked defense for the New York Giants. Give me the New York Giants for the upset win. Um, Especially with New York averaging 21 points per game. And San Francisco gives up 20 a game, and New York gives up 26. But I have a feeling that New York could win this game, especially with the lack of pass rush for the San Francisco 49ers, which should buy Jackson Dart some time to get the win. Minnesota versus Detroit Lions. Last time they faced off against each other was that closeout game last year where Detroit won 31-9. Detroit ninth best offense, ninth best defense, and Minnesota 14th ranked offense, 14th ranked defense, 25th ranked offense. We know Carson Wentz is done for the year with a shoulder injury. I believe I've been hearing JJ is supposed to start. However, JJ is, last time I checked, so JJ is going to start. And last time I checked, he was questionable, but he did log into full practice today. So JJ will be starting against the Detroit Lions. Detroit 8.5-point favorites. Minnesota is going to cover that and give me Detroit for the win, though. New Orleans Saints versus the Los Angeles Rams. Come on now. 14.5-point favorites for the Rams. The Rams will cover that. Tyler Shaw's first start of his career. Rams cover this. 26th ranked offense for the Saints, 13th ranked defense for the Saints, 7th ranked offense for the Rams, 15th ranked defense for the Rams. They faced off against each other December 1st last year, where the Rams won 21-14. Give me the Rams to cover and for the dub. Jacksonville versus the Raiders. Jacksonville 2.5-point favorites. Last time they faced off against each other was a 19-14 victory for the Raiders last year. 19th ranked defense, 15th ranked offense for Jacksonville, second worst offense for the third ranked offense, third worst offense for the Las Vegas Raiders, middle of the pack defense ranked at 16. Give me the Las Vegas Raiders for the win on that one, especially with Jacksonville being highly undisciplined, but we'll see if they clean that up over the bye week. And both teams are fresh. They're coming off the bye week for both of them. I say game of the week, no doubt about it. Kansas City versus the Buffalo Bills. Kansas City 2.5-point favorites. Last time they faced off against each other was that playoff game where Kansas City won 32-29. Kansas City, second best defense in the league, fifth best offense, second best offense versus the 12th ranked defense. Give me Buffalo. Buffalo usually pulls these games off in the regular season, and then Kansas City gets them in the playoffs. So give me Buffalo for the win on this one. Seattle goes over to Washington to face against the Communist Party. They're going to try to bring some capitalism and some democracy over there to Washington. Last time they faced off against each other was 2 years ago. 29-26 victory for Seattle. Seattle 11th ranked defense, 13th ranked offense. Washington 17th ranked offense, 28th ranked defense. Mariota is expected to start. No Scary Terry for this game. He's out with quad injury. I'm not sure if he's done for the year or not. Let me see what the news is on that. No, he's just out for a quad injury for Sunday night. Chosen played we got practice. Let's see, Commanders bring back Chosen to practice squad. Not really seeing a lot of injuries. Jaden Daniels is not even listed as questionable. Jaden Daniels gets back to full practice. So Jaden Daniels is going to practice. If Jaden Daniels has practiced all this week, even Dan Quinn has said Jaden Daniels will practice all this week. So Jaden Daniels will be playing against the Seattle Seahawks. I think I got Seattle winning this game. I'm going to stick with Seattle for the slight edge. And then the Monday Night Football game, because we got to have a Dallas primetime game. Arizona Cardinals versus the Dallas Cowboys. Last time they faced off against each other, Arizona won 2 years ago, 28-16. 22nd ranked defense for Arizona, 22nd ranked offense. Fourth best offense in the league for the Dallas Cowboys, but the 32nd, the worst defense in the league. I got Dallas winning this. I don't trust Arizona to win. There's no Kyler Murray supposed to be coming back. Still don't trust it a lot. And that's pretty much it. Your bye week teams are the following: the Cleveland Browns, New York Jets, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are all on the bye week. And this has been another edition, first regular schedule edition of the Power Rankings from the Nosebleed Show. In about 2 weeks, like I said, mental break, and then file got corrupted, so I had to do that one live and very quick. So yeah, Power Rankings predictions are done, set in stone, and done and over with. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please, please, please. We're on the road to 100. We are 3 away, 3 away. So let's go ahead and get that number up. Also, make sure you tune in live Sunday around 6:30, 7 o'clock. You make sure you hit that notification bell because I do set it out in advance. We are going to do the trade deadline show live on Sunday due to the fact that the Browns are on a bye week. We're going to keep up with that. We're going to stay consistent with that schedule. More content coming out. I'm working on a wrestling video. So for my wrestling fans, another wrestling video is dropping. Trust me, trust and believe it's going to be about why people are not watching WWE, which is funny enough. So again, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for coming and joining us into the nosebleed section. And now the nosebleed section is closed. Until next time, everybody, please stay safe. Please stay self-aware. Protect your children as much as you can. If you see anybody else's children, please protect them as well. Our children need to be protected and needs to be guarded. They are our future. So please protect your children. And please hit the like button, share, comment, subscribe. Till next time. Peace.